Okay, welcome to the short tutorial on how to get the development environment for the assignments in the course 1dv600 up and running. This will be fairly straightforward. Hopefully you won't have any problems. If you have, please use the Slack channel or contact the tutors during their sessions. Okay, first things first. The assignments and the code for the assignments is posted on GitHub. The URL is on the course homepage. When you come to GitHub, this is what you will see. Maybe the most important thing to do first is to check out the wiki, because here is the documentation. You can read about the assignments, an overview. You can read about the basic architecture of the application that you will be working with, but in this tutorial we will focus on installation and deployment. So there is a step-by-step guide for this, and basically you should just follow these steps. To speed things up, I have already installed VirtualBox and Vagrant. This is something you should do first, and you should of course select the versions of VirtualBox and Vagrant that suits your operating system. Make sure you get version that are above these numbers. Latest versions should do. When you install VirtualBox, you do not need to start it or create any virtual machines or something like that, because this is all handled by Vagrant. Of course, you should read up on what Vagrant and VirtualBox actually is. You also will need a text editor of some sort. Hopefully you already have something installed. So let's go for step number 3 then. Fork or download the code you want, Java or Node. So you need to make some kind of decision. Do you want to work with the Java version of the application or the Node version of the application? And if you open, you get the branches of the repository, and you get to select Java or Node. For this one, I will select Java. If you are logged into GitHub, you should be able to fork the repository or this branch. Then you will get a repository of your own. You can work in that. Otherwise, you can clone or download. I will select to download. So just download an ordinary zip file to your computer, and if we open it up, you will get a directory and you will get all the files that you need. So let's just copy these into some place on my computer. And now I have all the files that I need to continue. Okay, next step then. So I downloaded the code that I wanted. I wanted the Java code. I put it in my local machine and I put it in my project folder. This is entirely up to you what you select. Next step is to open a terminal or command prompt or PowerShell or something like that and navigate to the project folder. So you need to have some basic understanding of your operating system, and I'm on a Windows machine, so I use PowerShell. So now I need to navigate to my project folder, and it was something like this. And here we have all the files that I just copied. Alright. Next step is to execute Vagrant up, and this will take some time since it's downloading and installing a Linux distribution. So be prepared, and during this time you can browse the wiki and take a look at the assignments and the application stack and so on and so forth. I will pause the recording, so Vagrant up, and let's just take a moment and make sure things happen. Alright, seems to be progressing, so I will pause the recording now and see you when all is done. As you can see, a lot of stuff is happening. Could be a good idea to actually read at least a few of these messages, because they can give you some hints and tips on what's actually going on behind the scenes here. Alright, I think that the installation is nearing a completion, and actually what it's done is also that it compiles the Java code and it puts them in the right directories and stuff like that on the virtual machine, so that you actually have an application that is up and running. And if you see something like this, well, you should be good to go for the next step. Alright, we have executed Vagrant up. It took some time because it was a major installment. Next step is to open up localhost. And on localhost you can now find, on this port you can now find your book library. That is the basic application that we will be working with. So if you click the books, you get an empty list of books. If you click new books, you get a form. So basically you have a working client, but the server actually does not produce any data for the client to work with, because that's part of the assignments. Yeah. Alright, we probably need to be able to shut down Vagrant also, because we don't want the server to be up and running all the time. And well, you need to make your changes, solve the assignments, start up the server again. So the simplest way maybe to do this is to just Control-C, Control-C as per the instructions. So twice to stop the process, and I got my command line back. However, it's not always that actually the processes are killed properly. So it can be a good idea to check if this page can reload, and it still can reload, so maybe it did not kill the process anyway. So in that case, you can you can see that it actually got some requests here again. So you can try with Vagrant. Reload again. As per the next step, this will be a little bit faster than the next installment, but we will take a look at if it worked or not. Yeah, it did not work because the virtual machines were still running. So we will try with Vagrant destroy. That did not work either, so force. Okay, we have tried to be nice, but that didn't help. So then you maybe need to kill the processes manually. So you find the VirtualBox process, terminate, and now the web page should not be able to contact the server anymore because we just tore it down. So we will get a timeout here in a while. So then you of course perform your tasks as per the assignments, and you try to get Vagrant up and running again with Vagrant reload. And this will of course recompile your code and stuff like that, so any changes you made should take effect. Alright. So this was step 8. If you have got this far, that you have got the client up and running and you can see things, you are perfectly good to go. You should of course study the theory also before jumping onto the assignments, but you can at least start to experiment with the environment. There are some hints and tips here. We will be also adding more as we learn more about your problems during the course. One thing is that firewalls can mess things up, both between Vagrant and the virtual machine, and also between your web browser and localhost. So if you have some strange timeouts or something like that, try to disable your firewall temporarily, try again quickly. If it works, you know that you need to reconfigure your firewall in some way. This is something that I have already talked about. If you fail to terminate the processes properly, you can need to use the task manager to remove the processes manually. It's important to know your tools, and learning new things is common in software development, so I urge you to spend some time looking into how this actually works. The Java server uses Gradle to build and deploy, and code use NPM. If this is something that is totally new to you, you can check them out and at least get a basic understanding on how these things work. Can also be a good thing to understand Ubuntu Linux a little bit, and some Linux shell commands. And if you noticed, actually this process of tearing down and reloading takes some time, so it's not really that efficient. But you can make this more efficient if you learn a little bit more about the environment and edit your Vagrant script to avoid starting the server, and then log in via SSH and start the server manually. So you don't need to reboot the virtual machine all the time, so to speak. You can just do this in your server instead. But that is a little bit more advanced, of course. Okay, that is it for this short tutorial. I hope you won't have any problems. If you do, post on Slack. That is probably the best way to get help as fast as possible. And make sure you contact the tutors during the scheduled sessions. Alright, that's it for now. Bye.